Hi, and welcome to Three Things. Tonight's guest comes to us from the Western Burbs via Mount Greenwood. His favorite TV series is The Wire. His favorite movie is Swingers. I mean, goddamn. One of his best friends is a top 15 competitive eater. One had his leg bit off in Sharknado. And Tony Parker's dad once gave him a ride back to his dorm. He had Thanksgiving dinner with Chris Zorich, which is very timely right now. He's banned the leader of Barstool, Dave Dante Portnoy, from the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. Plus, he told him to fuck off for giving Gene and Jude's a 5. There's also a shirtless video of him defending White Sox Dave, which might be his shining moment on the internet. We bonded over our love of Howard Stern, The Wire Season 2. We're low-key trying to get Barstool Eddie to do a Howard Stern podcast with us to spill the beans. I've never met him, but I want to. Please welcome Tony the Mimbo.
Yes.
That was like you were going through it. I was like, I forgot we talked about. I knew we talked about Stern, but like some of the stuff, Sharknado. Like, yeah, that's.
Well, when this is like how we met. I don't remember what was going on, and I know that it was some Stern. I think it was with Eddie because Eddie had talked about Stern stuff, and you said something like, "Hey, we should have me on Dog Walk just to talk about." Doing
like the behind the scenes or whatever. Yeah.
And I, as I normally do, inserted myself into the conversation and said, I just want to be involved. I'm not going to say anything. Just let me sit there and listen to Eddie talk about what happened, because I'm a Stern geek. I've got 20 years under my belt with the Stern show right now. So I just was like, I got to get involved. So then we started talking, and I had to go through our DMs, which there was no nudes. So my wife is totally okay with that. And yours probably is too. And I was like, I got to start writing all these things down. And I know exactly after you said the Zorich thing, I was like, okay, we need to have you on a podcast because we need to do this long form. I don't want to do it short form, but here we are doing it short form because the big nose bastard in the bottom corner of my screen was like, get him on the show this week. And I said, okay, I will do what you say, because he's the leader. He's the big leader now. So
I'm part of Beef's Mafia. If you go back and listen, I'm your
yes.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
whatever you need, boss.
No, I mean here's what we do. Like, we have our whole 108 thing, our podcast, and all this stuff, and everyone else seems to like they are trying to do like media stuff. And the way we do it is whoever we think's fucking hilarious, that's who we want to get on. And the times we've hung out with you, and especially Treasy and I hanging out with you at the Barstool thing, the fucking NBA Jam shit, we had a barrel of monkeys for hours there at that thing. So I was like, we got to get this guy on here. We got to talk through some of this shit for sure.
That was an awesome time. And I was just telling my Sox Summer that he missed it. And it was like the first super spreader event that I was at. So I was like, it's really cool.
I don't remember too much.
I wanted to be there. I was the one that basically told these guys, you need to go to this event because it's going to be awesome, but I'm not going to be there because my nephew, who I was going to put in the intro and call him an asshole, had to turn 7. So I had to go to his fucking birthday party, which was fine because it ended up being the last time I saw my folks and family. But actually, it's not true. I've seen them a couple times. But I didn't get to go. Now, hey, we brought up Barstool, so real quick. F, Marry, Kill, Eddie, Dave, or Chief. I did not include Carl because Carl is the easy kill. So I just took him right out of there. So now it's a real tough decision.
So I think you guys talked about this with Josh Nelson or something. I listened to get my question for Thing 2. I listened to a few just to see if anyone had kind of brought anything up remotely similar or whatever. Mm-hmm. And one of them was like, basically like rank Barstool Chicago. It's impossible for me. So Eddie and Chief, Dave and Chief, Chief and Dave were nice enough to just invite me out to they went to brunch with 10 people one day and we're just like, hey, come on out. And was like, hey, we'd love to hang out with you. Just come out. For no reason, just being good people. So they're high on my list. Carl grew up literally 3 minutes from me. Not that I knew him before Barstool, but we have a lot of similarities, we don't really have any mutual friends because we've kind of hashed that out. Mm-hmm. But definitely have a lot of similar stuff there. And I also was on Eddie's podcast when Eddie had a podcast with Danny Conrad, who's their social guy. So I'm a big fan of Eddie too. F, marry, kill. So that's impossible. I think I would kill Eddie only because I know he'd be like, yeah, like whatever. Like
I get it, man. I get it. That's what he would say. Yeah.
He would just be like, oh, Mimbo. All right, I understand. Like he wouldn't even be mad for more than a second.
Right.
I'd probably marry Chief because he's way more stable than Dave.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to be married to Dave and he loses a debit card every 4 days? Be like, dude, did you fill up the tank? Oh fuck, I forgot. Like, dude, like I'm fighting with him and we're not even talking. Like I'm like getting irate just knowing. I remember at one of the events he was like, dude, can you hold my like debit card because I'm gonna lose it? And I was like, sure. 4 in the afternoon. Like it wasn't even like 10 o'clock. It was like 4 I think it was the Barstool like tailgate at the South. And it was like after we went to Declan's, not surprisingly, after the game. And it was like 5:30 or something like that. And he's like, dude, like, can you just hold on to this? I was like, yeah, like I'd rather hold on to it than you lose it in 4 minutes.
Nice. Well, see, that's good. Hey, you came correct. Yes, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. It might have been Tuesday's show. Dave was yelling at Chief because Chief had gotten a ticket in his car. And he said, I'm still pissed at you for that. And because White Sox Dave just got booted or some shit. Like they booted his car.
Dave gets booted every 2 months.
And so Chief was like, but I gave you the money. He's like, yeah. He's like, but you knew I wouldn't pay it right away. So this is going to happen. So it's still your fucking fault. You're still an asshole. And I was, this is why, like, you know, Dave gets a lot of flag, but it's like, I mean, you can't make that shit up. Like that's just like, that's right off the cuff. Like that's him. So yeah.
His band list is like incredible because it's the most eclectic list of people. It's like it goes from like Domino's to Lori Lightfoot to like Dale from like Wheaton. Like somebody like number 28 for no reason.
Yo, it's great. So he's good. Now we mentioned the Stern shit already. So I just wanted, like, before we get into the questions, these don't count as questions. What's your all-time favorite like Stern bit, and then what's your favorite character on the Stern show?
I have the worst memory ever, so we'll start with that. I have a portable hard drive that I have stuff still from like Kazaa.
You said you have cassettes.
I have cassettes. I don't know. There's some in the basement. So I have cassettes of Stern when he was on 105.9. By the way, like CKG was like a wagon. Like they had like Kevin Matthews, Stern, Dahl. Like it was just like, okay, it doesn't compare to radio, but whatever. I think my favorite show overall was the 9/11 show, because there's a bunch of news articles and news clippings and audio and whatever. That is the most natural. So in radio, there's a thing like natty sound, where it's just kind of like the background sound and, you know, stuff you pick up on the airwaves and whatever. That is the most natural, how it happened, when it happened, actions that you're ever going to find. Like people are calling in, they're like on the roofs of their like, you know, apartment buildings, like, oh my God, like, oh, I gotta go. And like people freaking out. And then like half hour later, it's like, it's terrorists. And Howard was like, well, you know, like, I think so too, but I'm not going to overreact. But like, he was right. Everyone on the show was right. He stayed on the air when everyone else left. He stayed on the air the whole time. So I really cherish that, because I think it's important that I was in high school. I was at Marist doing senior service, and I drove back. And I literally walked I was in like Mr. Nicholson's class for like Algebra 2 or something like that.
Horrible memory, but still remember the name of the teacher from 9/11.
Yes.
I mean, I think you're selling yourself short a little bit, okay?
I walk in and I'm like, I laugh. I go, why are we all watching movies? Like, just because nobody, like, I didn't know what was going on. It made no sense. I'm like, why are people watching TV? Like, what do we have to crawl under the chair, the desk too? Like, it's like one of those things you saw on like Wonder Years, like years ago.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, so that's probably like my favorite, like just overall show. I think my favorite bit's probably Artie. My favorite character is probably Artie, as far as just, I loved Jackie. But Jackie was too full of himself at times. I think Fred's a genius. I think Robin is like very underrated, but Jackie was just like, I mean, I don't know. He was good, but like he wasn't as good as he thought he was. And then when Artie, you could tell Artie respected Howard, but was still going to do his own thing and he added a whole nother like layer to the show.
Oh, dude. It was such a mess too. And like when I go and listen on YouTube, that's all I listen to is all the Artie years. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming on 3 Things. That was great. We're gonna go now, and it was good to talk to you. No, I don't want. These guys don't even listen to Stern, so it's nice and it's refreshing to talk to somebody that is actually into it and likes it at like a psychotic level. Like I would get so angry when I would go to work and I could not listen to it. Because it was like it made 4 hours at work, which I'm sure some people use our podcast for in the same way, go by almost instantaneous. Like you would just be like, I'm just listening to something, and it just makes me, it calms me down and mellows me out. So
you couldn't pay me to like wake up now. Like in the summers, I would wake up. Like I think Stern was 6 to 11 or 6 to 10, and I would like wake up, like I would be up at like 6:45, like I already missed stuff, and it's like summer break. Everyone's sleeping until like 11. I'm like,
people were nuts, dude. I mean, and I echo your statements on the 9/11 stuff. My buddy called me. I was living in Phoenix, and he called me. He was like, get up. And I was so pissed off because the night before I had been at somebody's house and I was drinking. And I think it was one of the first times I'd ever done cocaine. And I was trying to get this all out of my system. And it's fucking 9/11, and I turned the TV on, and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? So then we're on the replay, so we got the Stern, 2 hours after, and so I'm driving to Alice Cooper's restaurant in downtown Phoenix, listening to Stern's show, and then when I get there, everyone's like, there's still a plane missing. And I'm like, they're not coming to Phoenix. No one gives two fucks about this desert.
So, especially back then. I mean, it was anything what it is now. Well, and everyone was like, the Sears Tower's next, and half the people in Mount Greenwood are cops and firemen.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense because there's actually people there.
Yeah. But it was like a real threat at the time. Mm-hmm. Like we got sent home from Marist at 11:30. Like they were just like, "There's no point being here. Like go home."
I like it.
We're trying to make contact with people, and it was a disaster.
You're doing senior service. I'm trying to get through a hungover, cocaine-less morning. And,
my senior service, and again with the bad memory, Bonnie Lee.
See, this is bullshit. You don't have a bad memory.
Her email was like Bonnie Lee something like 98 at hotmail.com. She would have all this porn in her inbox, and I'm like trying to delete, and she's like, "What's that? What's that?" It's like Hotmail spread open. I'm like, it's nothing. I'm like trying to delete as fast as possible. I'm like 16 years old. Like, what are we doing here? There's got to be a better way to go about this.
Well, hey, thanks for doing the show. That's thing one. Thing two, you bring a question to the group.
So I did research. I listened, like I said, I listened to a few episodes, kind of getting a feel for what questions would be asked.
Right.
Trying not to kind of overlap. One I thought about was kind of like, who's your hall pass? But I mean, I don't know. I don't even know my hall pass at this point.
Good one.
It changes every 3 years.
Mine's My Sock Summer, actually. So.
Already been used twice.
Yeah.
Mine's not White Sox Dave. I can tell you that. But and then another one was kind of, what's your worst job, that sort of thing. But what I went with was, so the movie Ted, right? So you have a CGI teddy bear that's kind of raunchy as your best friend. So my question is, if you could have a roommate / best friend that was a CGI or cartoon, who would it be? And I'll go first. So for me, I honestly didn't think long about it. It's Popeye. You just work out all day, get in fights and chase chicks. What are we doing? That's a perfect wingman.
Right, and he could beat everybody up once he pops a little bit of,
Could you imagine walking into Cork and Kerry with Popeye? Like, dude, get your caramel Letterman jacket out of here. I'm Popeye, bro. You can clean house, and then you have the bar to yourself. Like, it's perfect.
Going down the road.
Yeah, but you I don't think you thought this completely through, though. The only thing you eat is spinach all the time. Are you a big spinach fan?
See,
You're going to get down with spinach or what?
That's not the problem. That's not the problem. You need at least 2 bathrooms, right? You got to make sure there's 2 bathrooms there, because those forearms, you're never getting in the bathroom if you live with Popeye. He's in there a lot. He's working.
And he's like
out.
smoking a pipe in there. He's just like reading paper. He's like looking over the stocks.
Man, this is a good question, because I'm trying to think of like
Thank you.
somebody that I would want. I mean, do you guys have something like that?
I got one.
Go low.
I got one. I'm all lined up. When he started going down this path, it popped into my head fucking immediately, and it was so obvious to me. My CGI buddy roommate would be Roger Rabbit, because Roger Rabbit gets into some motherfucking shit and adventures and shit. And Jessica Rabbit will be hanging around.
Yeah,
you
get yourself in trouble. You get yourself in trouble.
It'll be a fun experience. I assume I could go back in time to when I was single. Then maybe Jessica Rabbit's got some friends, and then Roger Rabbit, we're wingmen, baby. I could totally see it.
Jessica Rabbit could be your hall pass too.
There's no
Dude, when the bad guy's eyes popped out of his head when the steamroller went over him, I was like, "Is that real? Did that really happen?" I was like, "That's awesome." Like, is that like a real reaction?
I love the dip, and I love Christopher Lloyd as a bad guy. I love him.
Teresi, do you got somebody? Because I think I thought of somebody.
This is tough for me, because see, here's my problem. Is like, like I love Star Wars, and there's tons of CGI characters in Star Wars, but I don't want to live with any of them. Like, I don't want to live with any of these fucking weirdos. Like that's.
You don't want to order Grubhub 4 times a day with Jabba?
That would be cool, but like, I feel like his place was a little dangerous for a guy who drinks a lot. Like,
there's no doubt.
I take a wrong step, and there's like a Rancor ripping me in half. I'm not into that,
and also with Jabba, once he finds out that you're a musician, Treasy, he'll make you play the same goddamn song over and over just because he likes it. So
that's
true. Resistance for you, man.
That's true.
That big elephant-looking blue guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who I'm gonna go with? And Beef, you'll know who I'm talking about here. But do you remember Top Cat? I feel like Top Cat is actually a lot like my old roommate. So like, I feel like they dressed similarly. So Top Cat was basically a pimp cat. Like it was like,
I'm gonna look him up.
There was tons of like in the 80s, like I feel like into the early 90s, but this was mostly in the 80s.
Oh, I remember that motherfucker.
There were like cartoons that were like very popular, and then there was like a like secondary lower brow brand of like cartoon characters that were made for like more minority kids like me and Beef. Just like, oh, you guys would probably like a pimp cat. That's good. Yeah, you guys watch this. And
Garfield wasn't going through the trash enough.
Yeah, like Top Cat's in the alley constantly and dresses like a pimp. Like
reading the names.
This is my kind of guy, especially since that's a combination of my 2 roommates at that time, because we had one guy who dressed like a pimp, and then the other guy would eat from our garbage. So like perfect combo. So I'm gonna go with Top Cat. I would live with Top Cat. I think we'd have a great time.
You'd have a great closet to borrow clothes from for the weekend.
Oh, man.
I'm looking at some of these hats are electric.
I'd look like Kramer in the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Dude, some of the names.
Didn't he have like a feather in his hat or something?
Yeah, like blew off an old lady's head.
Good shit. So, immediately what I thought about when you were talking about CGI was Robert Kardashian. Actually, and I was like, because he's already a hologram, I could just move him in. But then I was like, that's fucking lame. So who's the original hologram? That's fucking Tupac. I want Tupac to come by. And here's another reason why. Because the hologram Tupac might be better than the regular Tupac because he can't die. So you could shoot at him and know he can't kill him.
But
Only
that
you
hit
can die.
you.
Yeah, just only
Well,
you
I
can die
know.
in
That's
these
what
things.
I'm getting there.
That's a
The
risky
bad
take
thing
for a
is, if I'm sitting next to Tupac, they might shoot at him. But I don't think. See, for some reason, I don't think like holograms are gonna have like beefs like real people. You know what I mean? Like they're a hologram. They don't really care.
Do
Like,
you charge holograms? Like, do you plug in? Like, does the battery die? Because that's.
I mean, is it like
I mean,
one of
yeah.
those, like the projection cameras that
There's
you can
gotta
get
be
for
a
your
base.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Like you can just plug it in and out. That'd be awesome. You could just anywhere that has like an outlet, like a 2-prong outlet, I could just plug Tupac in, and like people are like, "Oh man, we're fucking bored, man. We're just chilling." I was like, "Oh really? We're bored?" And then I just plug in Tupac, and then he could just rail off some of his hits, and like it would be fun. Like if people are like, "This is like a private concert."
You know
Could
what?
you imagine?
It'd be fun.
Could
You
you
know what's
imagine like your wife asking you like why did you buy a $3,000 generator? It's like, well, I can't live without Tupac, so like I can't live without my best friend, and if the power goes out, like, I need holograms. Like that's a fight. That's an incident.
Right? But then you could be like today we lost power for like 2 hours. I could have kicked on the generator and she could have worked those whole 2 hours when she was at home, you know? And then she would have been like, "Why'd you buy this generator, stupid?"
For
Now I
you.
had to work.
Yeah.
So no, I think the Tupac is probably gonna be my answer. But why is it bad, Loaf? You're
Breezy,
shaking your head.
I'm on to My Sock Summer here. Okay, I'm on to him
Why?
about this shit. I know why he picked Tupac. You remember My Sock Summer, his dream? He always wanted to be a famous white rapper.
I did.
And he's going to jump on Tupac's bandwagon here, and he's going to get on the Tupac songs. There's a lot of unreleased songs, and My Sock Summer is only getting him as his CGI buddy to steal that music, and he becomes famous. That's
This
it.
is McDonald Records all over.
Are you gonna say it? Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, he's gonna be the silver rings of Tupac.
Oh.
You know, I thought that's where you were gonna go.
It's I went in a similar direction. I went with an SNL skit. You know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
You want to be a pimp cat? I want to be Tupac. Loaf wants to, you know, Loaf. Whatever. So, that was thing 2. I'm actually almost done with the Bourbon County, which is not good. I'm gonna be so fucking hammered for this second show. It's not gonna be good at all. Luckily, I don't have to talk much, and my running bit with him is a ha ha ha. All right, so this is thing 3, right? We're thing 3.
We are thing 3.
We're at thing 3. All
I'm
right.
ready.
Because 2020 sucks major nuts, even Blackout Wednesday is illegal. What's one thing that you can do at home to participate in Blackout Wednesday?
Ooh.
So, like, if people don't know, Blackout Wednesday is like the night that everyone gets to go out in their presumably hometowns and then sleep in their presumably high school bedroom or hook up with some chick from high school or whatever, like those nights, like all your buddies are out and everyone just gets loaded up before Thanksgiving. Post 21, that was like the day we look forward to the most because
especially like when you come back from college, like that first year when you're like, dude, I have like 14 new friends, but none of them are as good as you guys. It's like that's like the best feeling.
Yeah.
Like when you go, like for us, it was Bourbon Street. Like Bourbon was literally 18 houses away from my parents' house. So that was bad. That was like the worst. And like on Thursday, it was, I think when they first opened, it was like $1.25 bottles maybe, and $2 Long Islands, like legit Long Island.
Damn.
Like we would walk there, and my friend, like my best friend is not the brightest, but he would run through the alleys like getting glass in his feet, and it's just like, yeah, it's just Thursday. Like it's just a Thursday in May. Like there's no other than you go there with $18, you can't walk out of there. It was insane.
So what's one thing that we can do at home to still participate in Blackout Wednesday?
So I
Easy?
think, yeah. So I think a couple things. I'll actually give you a couple things, and this is for the single guys out there. This is not for us. The first part could be for us, but the second part's for these single guys. So the first part is, one of the great things about being home and being tied down to your your place and you can only order shit in, is you can have Benny's deliver shit to you, and you can have them deliver all the Malort you want. So you could drink a whole shitload of Malort at home by yourself, and it's going to only be like $18 for the whole bottle, which is beautiful, instead of $4 a shot or whatever you're going to have to pay wherever you went. But then for the single guys, you know, one of the cool things about, and you guys remember this, you know, when that day happened, when we go on Blackout Wednesday, and beef for us, it was you go to Shinnick's.
Yep.
And then My Sock Summer, you go to whatever den you got in Sterling. Is it Kelly's? Okay.
Kelly's is the Irish Mexican restaurant bar.
Yeah, I had quesadillas.
Oh, nice.
They're good.
Yeah.
And you see like all these girls from high school and from even, you know, from grade school and stuff.
Grade school,
you know, for a long time. And you hang out with them. So now you guys that are single, you could just stalk them on Facebook. It seems like the natural progression for this year. Like there's like someone's already having a really shitty year. They really need to hear from you at 2 a.m. on Thanksgiving, because you got hammered on Malort at your house by yourself and you're feeling a little lonely. So please do that. I don't see anything going wrong from it. It's a really good idea. You should follow through on my plan there.
Yeah, I think that's good. I was wondering how the 108, and this is kind of my answer too, could help facilitate this. And I was like, maybe we'll just have a group huge meeting like on Zoom or Google Meets or whatever, and we'll just invite everybody, and then we're going to tell everybody to like invite those girls that are kind of, you know, maybe not like not the highest standard morals, right? Like, because the best thing for some of the older guys in the Zoom chat that is definitely have like, you know, like maybe they're married, you know, maybe they have like a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old girl, you know, like at home or something.
The fact
like,
that you said
maybe we
Google
have
Meets and then followed it up with this makes me think you don't know what Google Meet is.
Well, it's meetings, right? The Google meetings, right? Isn't a Google meeting?
It is.
Right, that's what that's called, right? Like
it is. You said Meets. I thought
meats,
you
like,
thought it
not
was like a
food.
market of some sort.
No. So I just like, you know, because you can pretend like you're at the bar, like someone could just be drunk up in the one corner of the Zoom chat, you know, someone could be down in the other corner of the Zoom chat, like, you know, drunk dialing somebody, and then you could have, you know, the girls with less morals, like maybe they can knock the top a little bit, maybe we see a little titty, I don't know, you know, that makes somebody sort of happy, you know, like, because that was the fun about those nights, like you just didn't know what was going to happen. You could go in thinking, man, she was the mousy chick in period 3, like, you know, but now look at her now, like seems to be having a really great time at Southern Illinois, and I'm glad that she came to, you know, the depot to hang out with me. And I'm going to buy her an apple pie shot because they're only $1, you know, like, but you can't do that. So hopefully she comes to the zoo or come to the Zoom call, not the zoo. And you know what? Honestly, I'm going to fucking change it. Just get a bottle of Bourbon County and drink almost all of it in 15 minutes. It really does a job really fucking good. Holy
I've
crap.
never seen better advertising than this one.
Right? I mean, it's like, I'm going to be like this for the next one. So, Tony, you know what do you think we could do? Bring Black Friday home or Black Wednesday home.
Facebook was definitely my answer. Just start stalking people. So I'll do 2 things. I'll pivot to LinkedIn. You just start recruiting people. Like you profile, like you're a hedge fund manager or something. You just start all the jocks that you went to school with. You just start recruiting them. Be like, dude, 150 base, like 10%. Just ROI. So your ROI is going to be, you know, and like all that stuff. And then another thing you could do, so like with your actual friends, I do like the Zoom thing, but what I would do is set up games. So you hold your phone, you have your phone and you flip it, and then you blindfold yourself and your friends have to guide you like through your house. So, like,
oh my goodness.
How good of friends do you have? You'll find out.
God damn. That's almost sadistic. Like,
I love that actually.
So I would not.
That's incredible.
I'm just throwing on the record that I would not want either one of those 2 guys fucking leading me anywhere.
I would
like, yeah, go ahead.
Right into all your bobbleheads. Like,
It's like a trust fall.
That's my retirement, asshole. Don't fucking do that.
It's your retirement, but you already spent it.
On what? Oh, on the
bobbleheads.
bobbleheads? Well, they're going to mature in value. Come on, please. Love, what you got, bro?
I mean, I like where this is all going. Now, for me, the Black Wednesday, by the time we were going back and doing this, especially like post-college, I was married already. So I wasn't going down your path my next summer. So the most fun shit for me when I go back for the Black Wednesday thing was like talking to someone from grammar school, reminiscing about the old days when you had 20 points against St. Michael's on the south side, but they still whooped our asses, like talking about old sports shit when we were playing. So I think I'll just open up a Twitter DM and I'll just start spouting off old sports shit from when I was at BCA in 8th grade to someone that would know those types of things. That's what I'm going to – actually, I may do that anyway. That sounds like a great idea because I know a bunch of BCA folks that are on there. I'll reach out to a few of them and just let them know, and we'll reminisce a little bit.
That's good. And in the BCA part, like once you get to a certain level of your drunkenness, like we saw at the BCA auction last year, you start speaking in tongues. So like it'll be a whole religious experience that goes into the next point. So it's great. Like it's not even Latin. It's just you speaking in tongues. It's wonderful.
It was a lot of rum. I was trying to keep to myself, and then you kept trying to go live on stuff and making me talk on the internet.
It was so funny. It was really funny.
So really, you're the asshole, not me. I was just trying to be a quiet, drunk motherfucker.
I play my role. That's what I do. I am the asshole. I will be the asshole so you guys look better. That's just how I look at it. My original question was going to be like, what was your favorite memory from Blackout Wednesday? But then I was like, if you can remember it, it probably wasn't that good.
Yeah, that's
like it just
one thing. One thing I remember though is and Beef, you probably remember this too because we have Thanksgiving together. Is there was like one year I was probably like 25 or something, and our mom like messaged us or called us and was like, "Oh, the turkey's getting done quicker than I thought it would be. It's gonna be ready at like 11:30 in the morning." I had been out until like 6 that morning. And I just remember being like at my mom's house eating dinner, just thinking, don't throw up. Don't throw up on the table. That's all you got to do. You just don't have to throw up. That's all you got to do. And it was close all day.
Man.
I mean, back in the day, we would play, like for about a half dozen years, we played Turkey Bowl game.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, I would say we'd go out. Now, Teresi, he would be like, fuck that Turkey Bowl game. I'm going to get drunk on the sidelines. And he had like Doc Martin boots on. And one guy separated the shoulder. And they're like, Teresi, you got to come into this game. Fucking, he took his Doc Martens off. He was out there barefoot. It's like 45 degrees. He runs a post. The quarterback throws it to him, scores a touchdown in the first play.
Yeah.
I'm good in the wild. You have to get the shoes off. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, we had a kid. I remember like we played football for probably like 8 years, 9 years, something like that. And I think we played in like Crestwood by where the Windy City like Thunderbolts play. There's like a park right next to that. And I remember one year there was a kid that like played rugby. I don't know like how good he was or whatever, but he was like a rugby player. Maybe played football Thursday morning a little too hard, and he ended up getting knocked out. Like someone hit him by the sidelines, almost ran over my friend's daughter, who was probably like 4 or 5 at the time. And it was like, I think this is the last year we're gonna play it. Like immediately, like, so I think we're done. Like we're done. That's enough.
That's the best thing though about Turkey Bowl on the South Side is there could be people that actually played football, and then they get a Turkey Bowl game, and you remember there's some badass motherfuckers that didn't play no sports, but they're out there for the Turkey Bowl game. So people get injured, and it's not usually the football players injuring the non-football players. It's kind of ends up being the reverse because you got fucking maniacs out there.
Yeah.
I remember we were playing one Beef, and like there was kind of a pile, like someone ran up the middle, and like there's a pile, and you just heard someone yell, "He fucking bit me!"
That's right.
And Bo Jackson ran right the fuck out of it. Yeah. No, my favorite memory, and I think I was living out west. I don't know if you know, Tony, but I used to live out west in California for a while. And I when I came home, it was like 5 a.m, and my dad was outside with his big green egg with his turkey going, and he just gave me the biggest shit-eating grin. He was like, well, you better get in there and get some sleep, buddy. So like while he's smoking this turkey, I'm like this like chain smoking Marlboro Lights, and then I'm like, yep, I'm gonna sleep this off. And then there was many a days when I would wake up and I would talk to my parents for like 5 minutes and be like, all right, I'll be right back. And then I go outside, throw up, smoke a cigarette, and then come back in the house, and they're like, what happened? I was like, oh, I just puked like 3 times, no big deal. And then I'm smoking, so yeah, that was good. Did you have any memorable Blackout Wednesdays other than killing people on the football field?
No, I don't. I know it was like definitely a big deal, but I think it was just the only thing I really remember is just getting like irritated at the bar, because I'm a big dude. It's hard for me to like pound my way to like the front and like get attention. I'm not a hot chick. Nobody like cares. So like I remember just like sweating at the bar waiting for like 45 minutes for a drink. Like that's my memory. So like it definitely probably even earlier than most people. I would say by the time I turned like 28, I was like, yeah, we're not. I'll see you guys Thursday or Friday. Because like drinks were expensive. Like it was just like the opposite of like South Side like living. It's like why is a beer $7 when Tuesday it was like $3 max.
Right.
See, you're channeling like an inner Eddie right now. This is like something Eddie would say. Like, I didn't go out on Blackout Wednesday because the money wasn't there. But like on Friday, it was a good deal. Like you could get in and it was better. And there's some of the people you still want to talk about or talk to were still there. So it was okay.
Yeah. Well, there are a bunch of Taft kids there, so that's not my crowd. You're like, that's not my crowd.
Well, Tony, thank you very much for blessing us with your presence on 3 Things. We're definitely going to have you on as a long-form guest, hopefully an in-person guest if we can beat this goddamn COVID-19, and maybe we'll watch a game together. I don't know how I didn't meet you at fucking Barstool at the park. I don't understand how that happened. It's not like you're a small guy and I'm a small guy. How did the 2 big guys not get stuck together on a fucking hot August or whatever the fuck it was? I had to look at these like goddamn beefalo dressed like the Mexican Joe Dirt out there. How did I not see? I don't know how I didn't see you. I saw Cheech. You didn't talk to me. So, whatever. But thank you for coming.
Yeah, my wife will like go hit or miss, like, so she's met them probably like 2 or 3 times, like at events or whatever, and like she'll be like, oh, I really like Dave the most, and then like the next time she'll be like, I really like Eddie the most, and like she just keeps changing her answer. It's like I'm like interested after like we leave. I'm like, so like, do you like Dave more now, or like I'm always more information from her. But yes, this was definitely a long time coming. I love you guys. I love everything you guys do. I love like meeting you. This is like the good side of Twitter. So obviously, like when my video went viral, I wasn't planning on that. But like random comments and like DMs and all this stuff, and people like, oh, like obviously, like I'm pretty friendly with like Barstool Chicago, and like I've DM'd quite a few people, pretty high up in Barstool, like Erica, Big Cat, like KFC. Like I talked to quite a few people. So it's like the people are like, oh, this fat piece of shit. I'm like not know it was a joke, and like it was. Do you really think that video was serious? And, like the way he like, because like I opened it like with like the stare and then like doing that, which is a Costanza thing from the episode where he's trying to get the candy bar out of the vending machine. He turned like the guy like hits it or something. He turns. He just goes. like and people like, you didn't even know the camera was on, fat fuck, living in his basement. I'm like, it's not that serious. Like I'm on Twitter for fun. Like I don't like White Sox Dave and like a lot of the Barstool guys are like, don't block people because then they win. But it's like, but I don't care if they win. I don't give a shit. I hate all these people, and it's like you don't know. Like when I go to, it's funny. Like when I go to Barstool events now, it's like, hey, like people will talk to me and be like, oh, whatever, and then like there was one dude at the NBA Jam thing that was like, wait, you're the Mimbo, you're the video guy, and like they freak out. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm just a normal dude. I'm like, cool. Like I was in Michigan, and I was sitting there, some 55-year-old guy probably 8 months after the video comes out, goes, "Hey, you're the hot dog guy," and I'm like, "Excuse me? Like, I know I'm fat, but like my neck." He's like, "Oh, Gene and Jude's." I'm like, "We're 7 hours away in like Traverse City," and like some guy just randomly is like, "Oh, Gene and Jude's," and I'm like, "How do you like?" He's like 55. But it's like the whole point is like there's good sides of Twitter and bad sides. You guys are obviously good side. Like I don't know if I would have met you guys like naturally through, whatever. So it's like, yes, I'm a huge Stooley, yes, Barstool, whatever, but it's like there's also White Sox Twitter. There's also, all these little things that kind of tie everyone together. So like I said, long time coming, super excited to do this and happy to do this. And whatever you guys need, obviously, I'm down for it. Live event, whatever. Let's do it.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in touch. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Tony, again. And thank you, Loaf and Chirizi, for doing whatever the fuck you did. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.